Everybody. How are you all? Okay, ready to hear about cloud forensics? Really? All right. So if that is the case, let me ask you first question. What do we mean by cloud here? Not the outside cloud, right? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, fine. What do we mean by cloud here? There is so much of a say about cloud computing everywhere, isn't it? Yeah, so what is your understanding? Perhaps I will tell you what it means from my understanding. But before that, I would like to hear from you what is your perspective towards cloud computing. Anyone? It can be wrong, no issues. Okay, storage place. Okay, accessible anywhere. Any examples? Ah, beautiful. Somebody else is murmuring saying iCloud and all, right? Google Cloud, iCloud. Ah, pardon? OneDrive, of course, yeah. And then AWS, yeah. So who said AWS here? Fine, okay. So what do you mean AWS meant for storage or anything else further? Towards services. What kind of services? Example? Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, we will discuss on that server too. Right. Anybody else? Any other ideas? Can you name some of the applications that we use in day-to-day life using cloud? Mm. Okay, okay. Microsoft, more specifically Azure. Can we say like that? All right, good, good. And anything else? Yeah. Okay, okay. Fine. Servers, yeah? So I'm hearing it for the second time. All right. Anything else? Google Drive, of course. Everybody uses Google Drive, these days, isn't it? Yeah? Okay. So what is the advantage? We do have pen drives with us. Yeah? We do have laptops with us. We do have much of provisions. So what is the need of going for cloud? We can access this anywhere. Beautiful. Then? Yeah? Large storage, yeah, large storage. So this is all in the perspective as an individual, isn't it? Yeah, personally you feel as such, yeah, right, that, we are using cloud for our personal usage. That's the perception of a general public, if I am hearing from you, right, okay. So it's not the end of the world, of course. The entire world is behind the cloud. More particularly saying, if I am considering the IT world, they are, completely relying on cloud computing. Cloud computing. That's the scenario today, right? So going further, yeah, please. Yeah. So if I mean cloud, I can say that almost every single service that I was using in a computer, yeah, is possible via cloud. Maybe I can say it in simple as such, yeah. And then going further, we will see how exactly it helps us in many different ways, yeah. So, majorly, I'm going to categorize them into three, in short, they call it as SaaS, PaaS, and IaaS, right? But we will see in detail. Right. And why exactly are we seeing them in detail? The reason is, the more we use the cloud, we are supposed to know what kind of loopholes are behind them, right? What kind of insecurities are behind them, right? Okay. So we are so happy to know that we can accommodate more photographs in our mobile phone, right? Just because the cloud has been introduced, we are very happy. But how safe is that? Is the next question. Right, okay, yeah. So, we pretty well know that, in the coming years, there will not be a need of external device at all. Everything is going to be there in the cloud, right? So, as of now, I'm carrying mobile phone with me and laptops with me for, making a kind of data transfer every now and then. But in future, it's not going to be there. right? There will not be a necessity. If I have told this before 20 years saying that, almost the mobile phone will have everything, just like a computer, nobody might have, understood the importance of that, right? But today, we don't find an individual without a mobile phone, isn't it? Am I right? Do you agree with me? Is there anybody who says that I don't need a smartphone? Do we say? Perhaps not, because we know and we enjoy the provisions connected to it, right? Okay, because of that, we keep going for that, and of course, it's going to be the same with the cloud too, right? And yeah. So first, let's discuss about SaaS, okay? So what is SaaS? Software as a service. What do we mean by it? I don't need to download a software in my computer and use it. I don't need to download. Instead, it's available if I have an internet access. That's it, yeah? So earlier, Microsoft Office was mandatory to be downloaded and kept inside your machine. But as of now, it's not the case, yeah? So what is replacing Microsoft Word right now? Google Docs. How many of you are familiar with Google Docs? Ah, beautiful, yeah. I just want to keep up the pace, right? I just want to know the audience, kind of opinion on what I am talking. I don't want to just say something that I have prepared and walk on, right? Okay, that will not help, right? That will not help, right? Okay. The purpose of having these kind of, conferences is to create some kind of understanding among the public. Right, okay, to impart the knowledge that somebody else has, right? Fine, all right. So, I don't need to download. So, initially, it was a case like this. If I have a Windows operating system, some other software which is not compatible with Windows cannot be downloaded there, right? If I have a Mac, probably it will support only Mac supportive applications. But after the invention of cloud, it's not the case. It's not the case, yeah? Irrespective of the configuration of the system that you have, you can access any application. All that is needed is you have to search for it, click the right link, open it, register it, and start using it, right? So this is for personal services. When it comes for companies, how does it work? Perhaps they make some kind of subscriptions for that in order to have, continued usage of them. Right, yeah, and then they will continue with that, right? So that's all about SaaS. It can be, accessed, in any kind of digital device, as we know, right? Okay. So these days we are familiar with IoT also. What is IoT? Okay. So name some devices, that in IoT. Alexa, beautiful. Yeah. Then, Siri, wonderful, right? And then. And then, what about this, smart watches that you wear? Yeah, right. Every single smart device that you are using is based upon the IoT technology only, right? Okay, fine. So, whatever is the application, be it IoT technology or any kind of device that you use, it is using the idea of SaaS only, software as an application, right? Fine. So these are some of the known examples. For instance, I didn't use the same example that you were saying, so I just wanted to cover something more that we are using daily, right? Okay, like Zoom and all, Adobe and other things, yeah, right? Okay, so we don't need to download them. So maybe somebody will have a question, Mom, we do see some application being downloaded onto our laptop and all. What is that? They are just a shortcut for you to access those applications. That's it. They don't sit on your system. They don't sit on your mobiles, right? Okay. How many of you are familiar with Amazon, stores? Amazon. How many of you have the habit of ordering there? Right. Okay. So does it sit on your mobile phone? Just a window, right? Okay. Yeah. Unless you have an internet access, you can't use it. Right, okay, so that's the difference between SaaS and an ordinary window application. Is that clear? Is that clear? Right, okay, fine. So today it has been observed that if you consider companies, be it any kind of business company or if it is an IT company or any company that is connected with the data and also the networks, then it is observed that at least they have 66 SaaS subscriptions, which means that most of the time they don't know what kind of subscription they have, right? Okay. And what happens usually is they just search for some kind of online software. They just purchase it. When it comes to companies, I mean, if it is a public cloud, we just access it for free, right? Yeah. But in the case of companies, they go for purchase, right? And then they start using it. They manage it. And at some point of time, they will feel that it may not be useful, right? So what do? Either they unsubscribe or they just forget about it. That's it, right? Okay, they don't use it anymore. But what happens to the data behind? What they have been using, the information that they have been accessing, storing, and all. Nobody cares, right? Okay, but there is the loophole. There is the loophole. Right, okay? So here, I guess all of you are from forensics department, right, okay? We are so very particular about the insecurities and the crimes happening because of that, right? Yeah? Fine, right. So what kind of challenges are there? Like, let me start with shadow IT. Of course, you can name anyone, and I have 75 slides, but I don't think I will be able to complete it in 1 hour, so I'll be skipping a few of the ideas in order to ensure that you are following each of the discussion that we are having here, right? Shadow IT, what is that? Let's say that we are working in a company, right? In a company, and we need certain applications, yeah, and we start accessing them through the cloud, right? So we subscribe and we use it. And we never have a care at times whether or not this is, acknowledged by our IT team, right? We think that it is comfortable. We think that it is okay to use anything, and we take it as a privilege, and we just, start using it, right? Most of the cases, the IT teams, they know the actual impact of these applications, and they may not actually allow you to process those things. So most of the companies, since they are using some of the applications just because they are very comfortable, they happen to be the malicious applications, the one that lie as a threat for their company. They have no idea that the information that they are storing is stored somewhere else, which is, where actually it is not supposed to be. Right, okay, fine. And account hijacking also you might have heard, right? Okay, so you may be thinking that I'm just opening this application in my URL, say any browser. Can you name some browsers, please? Let me have it interactive. Yeah. Yeah, Firefox, and then. Okay, yeah, and then. Okay, Bing. Okay, people are saying different things, yeah? Let me hear the browsers, yeah. What is a browser, by the way? Yeah. Through which we try to access any of the internet applications, right? Okay, so the popular one is Chrome, right? Okay, Google Chrome. We are quite familiar. How many of you store your passwords in Google Chrome? Fantastic. Okay. So do you have any idea whether or not it is compromised already? Yeah. Okay. If you store, that's the thing, right? It gets compromised immediately, right? Okay. There are a number of provisions. Yeah. I have my students here. I'm happy to see them all, right? Okay. One fine morning, I was, opening my, system for taking attendance, right? Okay. And, I was typing my password and I clicked save immediately. There was a student standing next to me. Ma'am, what are you doing? And then I said, by mistake I saved. Ma'am, see, in a minute I'll show you what your password is. And he dragged and dropped opened the source, and then he said, no, see, how many ever passwords you set, I will know. Right, okay? So this is the thing, right? Okay, yeah. So if you are saving your passwords, it means that you are letting the world know, about your credentials. Not just that. Maybe parallelly in another tab, you may be accessing your bank account. Yeah? And you will be thinking that, oh, this is a separate tab and that's a separate tab, and I'm accessing different server via that URL. And what happens here, and if the application that you're opening is a malicious application, and the intent of the application is to oversee whatever you perform in your system, then what happens? Every single credential that you feed in some other tab is being taken by it. So you have no idea how your account gets hijacked. Yeah, somebody else uses your account, right? Okay. So, so many kind of data breaches happen. Data breaches. Somebody else uses your account. Somebody, as of now, we are so comfortable because our money is not so far compromised. But day will come if we still, stay unaware of these kind of applications. Our bank accounts will be challenged of their securities. As of now, there are so much of concern in our country about it, yeah, and so much serious steps are done towards bank applications, but not towards normal applications. That's one big, concern that we have, right? Okay, fine. So insider threats, if I consider, right? Okay. Sometimes, it's like, you all stay in hostel, right? Yeah, so many people might have, seen how a hostel is, right? Okay, so you may be sharing a room with others, or a block will be shared by many people. Maybe if you are in individual rooms also, you will have several rooms and all. So just imagine that your room is left open, okay, left open, and you have your valuables there. And after some time, when you come back and you don't find it there, what will be your natural intention to think? What will you think? Yeah, it may happen anywhere, right? Am I telling a different scenario which is not usual? No. Right. What will you think? First, you will doubt your roommate. Next, if not the roommate, then the neighboring rooms. If not, somebody in the block, isn't it? The same thing happens with the cloud. The cloud is being shared by a number of other applications, and you have your own insider who is a threat for the data. That's the insider threat, to make it simple, right? Okay, fine. So if I am considering the data, right, okay, all over the world, okay, if I consider account or credential hijacking, it's nearly 50% of the attacks. 50% of attacks. And if I am considering, the other one important thing is misconfiguration of cloud services. What is that? The cloud does provide the security options, right? It is available, but most of us are not familiar with the options. And I still know, like when you are using a computer, if there is a box, you keep clicking, okay, or cancel, something like that. You don't read anything there, do we? We are in such a hurry that we don't listen to what is prompted there, right? Okay, to what we agree to, right? Yeah. So what happens there when you do that? When you don't customize your facilities, you are providing loopholes in order to help the intruder take your data. If you are so specific about your securities, then what you will do, you will be reading every single option that is provided by the cloud security options, and then you will try to provide security. Of course, there are so many other kind of insecurities like insider threat and so many other things, which may still be there. But apart from that, most of the kind of problems occur because of misconfiguration. 42% of attacks are because of that, right? Okay. So if you are more particular about the configurations that you provide for your cloud services, then to some extent you can believe that you are in safe hands, right? Okay. So as you can see here, there are so many other things like, insecure API, DOS and all, right? Okay. Even shadow IT are there. So if I go into more of technical terms, I hope I will not have even a single audience who will listen to my lecture, right? Okay. So going further, right? Okay. Let's go for the next category, right? IaaS, right? Okay. So this is infrastructure as a service, or called as hardware as a service in general, right? Okay, fine. What is meant by infrastructure here in cloud? Any guesses? Of course, I have it here in the slide. Yeah. Any guesses? All right, base of a computer. That's your opinion, beautiful. Then? Yeah, you started like that. You said storage, yeah? Yes? Yes. So storage is one component there, right? How do we store, right? So I don't have personal storage. My hard disk may not support to store so much of data. So in that case, what do? No worries. Initially and all, when you are buying a computer, people will ask, what is the hard disk capacity? 1 TB. Do you think it will be useful even after, another 5 years and all? Maybe you need something more. Why don't you go for a bigger configuration? That was the question when you're buying a computer. But as of now, that's not the case. You say, whether I have 500 GB or 200 GB, that's not the concern. I have the cloud. I can store my stuff there, right? I don't need to store it right into my system memory, right? Okay, yeah. So because of that, because of this infrastructure facility, I am depending upon the cloud storage to store my data. That's not the end. That's not the end. Okay. Of course, suppose if I want to have my company to run on these cloud, storage. I still remember when I finished my postgraduate and all my classmates, they were settled in some IT company. So some of them, they started their own company, startup companies and all. So they invested a lot, little by little. I still remember one company where they had a big server, which is, taking the entire room. All right, okay, yeah. They took big support, in fact. Yeah, they, had a tie-up with a bigger company. And then they, the later stages, another 3 years, they had a big server of this kind. Okay, one big room. Why? What is the purpose? It's not just for storage. It's not just for storage. In the earlier days, before 10 years or, sometime when I was doing my PhD and all, if I want to run my algorithms, if I run it in my, laptop, I will get beautiful smoke and that's it. I can forget about my laptop because the algorithm will be requiring so much of RAM. Right, okay, yeah. So if I increase the RAM and if it is not compatible with my hard disk, then probably again, beautiful fumes will come, right, okay, right? That's how it was. But now, you don't need to worry about your processing power, right? If I need a very powerful processor behind my system, I can use the cloud using this infrastructure, right, okay? My system may have limited capacity. Still, using the cloud, I can make a request for not a CPU, maybe a GPU, right? Yeah, a very bigger processor, right? Okay, and I don't need to worry, and then I can transmute my program to be processed in some other server in the cloud and get just the data back, the results back. So that's how it works. Yeah. So one good example is Google Colab. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Google Colab, right? If you're interested with Python programming, probably you will be familiar with that, okay? So if you don't have such provisions in your laptop, you can have, subscriptions to it, and then you can do. But in a company perspective, suppose if it is a startup company here in India, they don't need big servers like this. They can have a room size office, right, okay, small room size office, and then they can make subscriptions for these kind of bigger servers, and they can process any big kind of algorithm, right, that can be processed in a few minutes or seconds, yeah. So that is one other facility, right, computation power. Third thing is network. Earlier, if I want, a Pakka facility where I can ensure that I have nice firewalls, and nice ways of protecting my, information, then probably I must have a network server for doing those kind of activities, yeah? So we usually set up a demilitarized zone, with the servers in order to make it more powerful and ensure that there is no kind of intrusion towards it. So that was the need earlier, but through this process, yeah, through these infrastructures, what I can do is, I can have my entire network server capabilities right on the cloud, separate your information either virtually or physically, right? And you can ensure that none of the information are combining with each other, and it will look as if they are working in different servers. So that kind of facility is provided. Right, okay, fine. So that's with network. Now, when I am explaining network, I told you that we have number of servers right? Okay, yeah. So number of servers means one server maybe here in this location, Rajamandri, right? One server maybe in Bengaluru, right? One server in Delhi, anywhere, right? Okay, but I don't know where exactly the data is being processed. How do I manage it? How do I manage, the memory that is, being available, or the processor being available and all? We will have the load balancers in order to control them, to manage them. So even for that, we needed special infrastructure earlier, but with the help of cloud, we don't need them anymore. So that's why most of the companies are moving towards cloud, even though they don't have much of provisions to have these facilities of their own, right? Yeah, fine. So all that is needed here is the third point: pay as you go. If you pay, you have the service, right? And most of the time, the small companies, they fall prey for that, because initially it looks very attractive, yeah. And when you keep buying for every single minute, every single hour, it takes dollars of amount from your account, right? So then people come to an understanding that it's not a good idea to have small amounts of storage. Let me go for bigger amounts of storage. In that case, the amount is less. The payment that I have to make is comparatively less, right? So that's how the business grows with cloud, right? Okay, yeah. So we become addicted either, or we have no other go other than going for their cloud provisions. Yeah, so it's kind of, vicious cycle on which we are, getting caught, right? Okay. So in traditional hosting, why it happens? Why do we rely on that too much? Yeah. In traditional hosting, it was like even that picture on the right, on the right to you, right? Okay. If you see, there was initially one server and many clients. Yeah. So the storage will be in that server. Say, for instance, let's consider the bank accounts, right? So your account details will be maintained in a server, in one server. And what happens is, when you are sitting in your system or in your mobile, accessing your account, the request goes to the server in general. Okay, all right? Yeah. So you do use your bank accounts, I believe. Do you? Do you? All right. I'll not say bank accounts. Do you use GPay, PhonePe, and all? Yes. How many of you use GPay and PhonePe? Oh, beautiful. Now I get your attention, right? Fine, okay. So it is nothing but a gateway to your banks only, right? Okay. So what happens there? The bank account information will be in the server. You will be processing from some device. It may be your mobile phone or your laptop or any kind of device, right? Okay. Yeah. So when you make a request, it goes to the server. Suppose if the server is down, what will happen? So there had been days before 10 years and all. If I go to the bank, they will say, server down, madam, no processing today. They'll say, right? So hopefully tomorrow, the next day we will go, server down, madam, maybe another 2 days. That used to happen. But today, we just make payments in seconds. How does it happen? We have number of servers available in the cloud. Number of servers available, right? Okay. So how does it happen? Your data is replicated and kept in many different servers. And when I am making a request via my GPay, let's say, right? Okay. So sometimes it gets processed immediately. The payment is done immediately. Sometimes it takes a few more seconds. Haven't we experienced it? Yes. Yeah. What happens? It finds that the nearest server is not available. So it goes to the next nearest server. Okay. And so the part of the information of yours, your account details, are also available in the next server. Right? Okay. So when it is processing, and if it finds that that server is also very busy, then it moves to the next server. And that's why we get the delay while we make the payment. But somehow we can be very sure that the payment will be made. Is it not? Don't we experience it? Yeah, we do, right? Okay. So that's why, since we have number of servers, if something goes out of order, we do have a mechanism to go across beyond the kind of restrictions that we have, right? So coming again to IaaS, what are the provisions? So it's all about servers and storage that you told me when I asked you, right, initially about the cloud, right? Yeah, we do have those provisions, and beyond that, we do have networking firewalls for security purposes, yeah, dedicatedly, but they are very expensive, right? Yeah, and then we do have data centers. I told you at the beginning, some of my friends, they had their own company and they had a server of this room size and all, right? Okay. Is it not the case even today? Yes, they are called as data centers. They are called. The only difference is I don't need to own it. Yeah, I don't need to own it. Instead, somebody else owns it and I take a part of that. I just, pay some amount and make use of the provisions. That's that. So the data centers are innumerous these days. We will find a lot of data centers all around India, especially MNCs. They establish their data centers in different points, in order to ensure that the server provisions are available all the time, right? So this is all about IaaS. And now, who are providing these facilities? Yeah. So the one topmost, brand that is a big say is Amazon Web Services, right? Okay. So for the past 3 years, it is leading to be the crown. Although there is a big kind of competition between them and other, Google and Microsoft Azure. They are making big competitions to AWS, right? Okay, they do have, better kind of growth, yeah? These three are leading, and of course we have more other kind of companies. They provide their infrastructure to you, right? If you find a lot of companies around, they are not just software companies. They may be data centers. They may be providing infrastructure to different companies, yeah? Right? Now, more specifically in India, this is a business right now. Right, okay? So if you find, be it Tata Communications, Sifi, or Reliance, or anyone, even, of course, we have Amazon Web Services. It's not the only source of our, companies. We have a lot of businesses running them as their, sole concern, right, okay? So which means it's a big business which the community is not aware of. Maybe the companies are aware of them. Right, okay? But the general public, they don't have any idea where exactly the data is being manipulated, where exactly they get processed, yeah? Or they have no idea regarding them, right? Fine. So, of course, we have a lot of advantages, yeah? Although my mobile doesn't have that facility, I make use of the cloud facility and I run. So, especially with games and all, people will say, only this much storage isn't sufficient. We have this particular, URL now. I can play big games even with that, right? Okay, yeah. So it is, of course, interesting, but, right? Okay, the security concerns are still there, right? Still there. So the major concern is insider threats. Like I told you, just imagine that there is a data center like this, a room big size data center, right? A big server is available, right? So what will happen, just like your hostel, one room is for you, another room is for another person as such. Some specific processes are assigned for some companies, some storage is assigned for some other companies as such. They are your roommates, by the way. Is that clear? Am I making it clear? Yeah, I find that most of you are busy with your phones. Yeah, right. Yeah, when people are stealing your data, actually, I'm talking about how they steal and what they do. Right, okay? It would be a better insight for you. Right, okay? I would suggest some of you to keep your ears open to some of the discussions here. I'll be happy if you do. Right? Fine. Okay. So, when you have your roommates like this, different companies, there may be one roommate who is not reliable, isn't it? Yeah? So he creates the threat. He creates the threat. And you have no idea who is creating a threat, and you think that you are in the safer hands. Your system is pakka, right? Your facilities, your configurations, everything is beautiful, but still, he will try to find a way to enter into your premises, right? Naturally, just like, somebody is so interested about your kettle in your room, they will wait for the time right? That you're not available in the room and they will come and take it, right? Okay, right. So similar to it, right? Insider threat, right? Breaking encryption. Encryption is a big say, right? Okay. What is encryption? Somebody please, more specifically. Unreadable format, right? Okay. Suppose if I give 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, it may not be stored as 1, 2, 3, 4. Instead, it may be stored as A, B, C, D. Now you get me, right? Okay. So you won't figure out what is there behind, right? So let's say the numbers are, 6, 7, 8. 6, 7, 8. For 6, maybe some other kind of representation. 7, some other representation. So I'm making it very simple for your understanding, but actually there are very big algorithms that will convert every single character into an unknown character. Okay? So they take a lot of effort to convert them, and then when you need them, it will be decrypted again in a form that you can access them. Right? Okay? So that's the encryption and decryption process in general. Right? Okay? But the problem with them is, we think that we have designed a very beautiful encryption algorithm, which cannot be deciphered by anyone easily, right? But if you have a better intelligence who can do it, who can decrypt, definitely it will be broken down, right? So you know the story of Hitler sometime before, right? Okay. So what's the secret behind Hitler? The encryption process started there, isn't it? During the Second World War, right? What was that? Anybody knows the story? Yeah. He had a plan. Where exactly to blast the bombs, where exactly the attacks are to be made, and he encrypted the message and he propagated via radio. Right? The people were not able to locate it because the key was changed every day. Right? That was the idea of Turing machines and all, right? And some group of scientists, they broke it. Yeah, Alan Turing was heading the team, right? Okay. And there the encryption idea started, right? Okay. So before my time, if I have last 5 minutes or 10 minutes, kindly tell me. Yeah, it would be helpful for me, right? Okay. Right. I'm not keeping track of the time. That's why. Yeah. When exactly am I supposed to finish? Yeah, because I have the next speaker with me, right? That's why. Yeah. Fine. All right. So Hitler thought that it cannot be broken, and of course it was broken. That's why the other party won. They won in the Second World War, right? Okay. The same thing happens here. We think that we have very efficient encryption algorithms with the rise of AI today. AI makes its own algorithms. It finds all possible combinations. Yeah, right? In that case, if in case it is all about encryption and decryption, probably our machine learning algorithm can sort out and find out which is the possible key. Right, okay? So if that is the case, again, encryption is a question. You can't say that my information is secure. The only thing about encryption is, only added advantage is the time delay that you make for the intruder to reach your information, the time delay. That's the success of encryption. So in that time lapse, when you get to know that somebody is trying to process your information, you just make some kind of other kind of mechanisms to protect your information. That's time delay is the only success of encryption, basically, as of now, right? Okay, right. And breaking authentication, that's, very common, right? Guessing your username and password. Right? Yeah. Yeah. So starting from shoulder surfing to any new mechanism that we have, automated mechanisms are available to find the usernames and passwords. Right? So infrastructures can be easily compromised. That's the thing that I would like to indicate here. Right? Okay. Yeah. And going for virtual machines and containers, this is one big talk in cloud computing as of now. If you ask, computer science specialists or, the people working with cloud computing, they will say that, we have virtual machines, we have containers. What is that? This container will exist for only half an hour, and it will not allow you to process anyone to enter into that. It is completely compact, and it's well secure, and nobody else can interact with the system, which means your system is highly secure. That's the kind of belief, yeah. Of course, it is secure in most of the cases, yeah, but it's not, we can't say that it's completely secure, right, okay. So I'll show you some examples here, right, okay. So the kernel is the base system, the base infrastructure, right, okay. And if you have a malicious container, it may try to interact with your system. It will keep trying, keep trying. When I say keep trying, it's not about years and months. It's about in minutes and seconds. Yeah. So in a second, it will generate a number of possibilities to break your system, actually. Right? Okay? Right. So what happens here, when I have some malicious container, there may be good containers, right? They, little by little, they corrupt one or the other. And the saddest thing is you have no idea that your system is being compromised. Your infrastructure will not let you know that your system is being compromised already. Unless you have your proactive monitoring systems to analyze them, you will have no idea that your containers are already in survey. Right? Okay? So that's the thing. The last one is platform as a service. Okay, so we discussed about two other things already. What are the two? Software as a service and then hardware as a service or infrastructure as a service. And the third one is? Yeah. So this is one big kind of business as of now. Right? Okay, what is this? This is the interest of IT companies mostly. Right? If I want to develop something, I don't need an operating system. Right? I don't need any application, right? I don't need any kind of tool that is needed for development. Initially, development cannot be made unless you have proper infrastructure. That was the thing. It's beyond the infrastructure now. Infrastructure is all about hardware, and this is all about software. Right, okay. So, as of now, even when you have certain systems online with cloud, when you go for free, cloud provisions of PaaS and all, what happens is, with free subscriptions, you can't deploy. You can test it. You can run it. You can see the output. But you cannot make it as a software and you cannot hand it over to companies saying that this is my software, use it. You can't do it. So if you want to deploy them as a service, then what you may have to do, you must have platform as a service with you, right? Well, unless otherwise, it cannot be deployed, okay? It cannot be hosted by servers in general, right, okay? So whatever kind of software it is, it's not just the ordinary applications that I mean. Any kind of super intelligence software, that is, being possible to develop in a lab, it is possible via cloud services, but most of the cases we don't use it in our places that much. Yeah, we don't get exposed to them. But most of the research labs in abroad countries, they make use of these kind of provisions, and these days even software companies are using here, and that's why it's a big business, right? So what are all the provisions available? You can use operating system, you can have databases. This is all not the storage, not the infrastructure, it's the way how we access them, how we interact with them. So we need a kind of a mediator, right, between the actual machine and us. So that mediator is nothing but the platform as a service. Is that clear? Am I making it clear? Yeah, right, I hope so, right? So of course we have a lot of vendors here. Right, okay. So AWS is the topmost one among the rest, yeah. So we do have Azure, Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud Platforms, IBM, Oracle, and a lot, right, okay. And this is going to be a big say in the coming years. And as of now, we see that almost a lot of engineering colleges are having a lot of batches of computer science, people, right, yeah. And even with forensics, you learn about IT, isn't it? Right? Yeah, part of you is, or interested in general digital forensics, machine learning, etc. Right? Okay. So since we are relying upon these computer or automatic means of, processing information, these companies are earning their reputation. Yeah. In India, of course, we have these as popular, PaaS, providers. right? Okay. So in 2020, it was like only 56.2 billion, but it is going towards 164, like three folds, not just double, right? Okay. So it's growing very fast. That's the indication all over the world. Yeah. Right. So what are the challenges? What kind of problems do we have? Right? Like, if we are provided with the provisions, we get locked up. When you don't want those services anymore, and if you decide that, no, I don't want the service anymore, I'm not very happy with that, if I want to move, maybe the other one, the one providing the cloud, may not have the same provisions. We get locked in. And not just that, already you have been using your software there for a long time, your data will be there, and you have no idea how much secure your data is going to be after you leave. Right? Yeah. So there are not much of provisions for that. It's a big decision that you make when you are making a tie-up with PaaS providers. Right? Yeah. Fine. So that's one biggest problem: vendor dependency and vendor locking in, and they taking your information and all. Right? So this is an overall picture for you to recall the ideas, yeah, SaaS, PaaS, and the infrastructure as service, who and all are providing. So as you can see here, let me ask you a question, right? Okay. So here, which is actually maximum utilized according to the data in 2022? Which is used maximum? Software as a service. Second? Infrastructure as a service. And the third? Yeah, but as of now, this is 2022 data. Now we are in 2024, in 2023, there is a bigger increase with platform as a service, right? Okay, yeah. So, which means we are increasing the security loopholes, right? Okay, fine. So we can categorize further. Public cloud means anybody using anything, right? Free of service. Private is, public, we do use Google Clouds, Amazon services as such, yeah. Everybody can use it. It's free, and there is no kind of boundary there. And then private cloud means it's specifically for a company, right? You own the space and you believe that nobody else is borrowing your data, right? Okay, fine. So that's the thing. And coming to hybrid cloud, it's a combination like private and public clouds. Yeah, to some extent of data can be reachable by everyone, whereas some other are said to be private. Yeah, so they do have physical boundaries, and also they have virtual boundaries that are set up by the software. Right? Yeah. So we are supposed to feel that they are very secure, but when it comes for security, public clouds are not at all secure, as you can see in this graph. Hybrid to some extent, private or comparatively better, right? Okay, that's the real scenario, right? Okay, when you have the real cloud environment, okay? Right, so yeah. So we did discuss about a lot of crimes, yeah, because of cloud, right? Data breaches, somebody else using your data, right, okay, and having different kind of attacks on your systems, I did mention, right, okay, and your identity is stolen, right, okay, like I told you, when you save your, passwords in the browsers, the moment you do it, they get compromised, yeah, there are a number of means, yeah, right, phishing, what is phishing? Yeah, you giving a lead to your intruder by yourself, right, okay, yeah, so it may be, you may think that it is a genuine mail from the respective company or bank or anything, and you respond to it and you give your details by yourself, right? Okay, fine. And then ransomware, any idea? Yeah, India is suffering on ransomware like anything, right? I still remember, right? One of my friends, they said like, so one fine morning, they had their textile showroom, multi-story building. They were not able to access their systems. Then when it is asked, it has been locked, right? And the people were demanding for amount, right? And unless you pass down the amount, your data will not be released. Yeah, it's in the frozen state. So that's the kind of attacks that happens, in most of the cases. Yeah, right, especially with businesses. Yeah, right. And intellectual property threat, maybe in India we don't give much of importance to it, right? Which is concerned as a considered as a very big threat in other countries. Okay, so if somebody owns an idea, it is supposed to be protected. If somebody owns some kind of company policies, it is supposed to be protected, right? But here we just oversee everything and we just copy, and we don't see it as a crime most of the cases, which is very wrong, right? Okay, yeah, such kind of activities. And then denial of service attacks. Sometimes when you're trying to process something, we think that the server is not responding. But actually what happens is somebody else is stopping you, right? They make the server to deny you the service. Okay, that's one popular attack that you have, right? Okay, so these are some common kind of crimes that are found with normal internet and more specifically with cloud, facilities. When it comes for cyber attacks, yeah, so they say that 13 lakh cyber attacks have been attacking our banks in the last year. Okay, 13 lakhs, big amount, isn't it? Yeah, right. Okay, so it's like mostly for money extortion, right? Most of the cases it's ransomware. They lock your data, they demand for money, and then they release it once you transfer the amount, right? Okay, so there are several attacks. Yeah, identity-based phishing, social engineering, and all, right? Okay, and more specifically when it comes for cloud, right? In abroad nations, healthcare benefits have been compromised. Healthcare benefits, because for them, insurance is everything. Healthcare insurance. It's, in our cases, we rely on insurance only when we die, right? Yeah, we keep paying and then we enjoy the services at the end. But in other countries, it's not the case. Yeah, right? They use it for living, right? So those things are being compromised just because of the cloud provisions to damage them. Right, okay. So many companies like American Express and more other like McDonald's, even the commercial ones are being compromised very frequently. Right, okay. Right. So, of course, on the one side, we think about the usage, how much it is helpful for us to use. On the other hand, we also see how much our data is being compromised. Yeah, so 8 out of 10 companies, they say that they had severe cloud threats in the recent years, particularly in the last year. Right, okay. So maybe we think about, these SaaS and everything, it should be flexible, it should be user-friendly. That's all beautiful. At the same time, how much effort is taken for the security of the cloud? That's the question. Right, okay. We think about how exactly we can cover our customers, but we give less importance for how we can secure our information. And that's why we get into this kind of troubles. Right, okay. And, when it comes for cloud forensics, all right, crime is enormous, we agree. Provisions are there, but still crimes are there. As forensic people, what do you do? That's the question. How do we approach the problems, right? Okay. So, of course, the same routine you follow: identification, preservation, collection, detection, analysis. That's all beautiful. Same mechanism. Nothing is changed. But where is the compromise? That's the question, right? Okay. So, yeah, we deal with all these things. I'll come back here. Let's go for this example, right? Okay. Fine. So, suppose if there is a crime happening on the cloud. Big attack, let's assume, right? Okay, where should I look for? How should I look for, the traces of the crime? So here, the basis is, it's just not the attacking, person. It's about the device that is being attacked. That's how you see things, yeah, right? So beyond that, what is to be concerned is the logs. Why? For every single process that happens in the computer, there is a mechanism called logging, L-O-G, logging, right? Every single activity. When you make a request, it is logged. When you get a response, it is logged. When you are, enabling a connection, it is logged. When you are disabling, when you are attacking, when you are releasing, whatever you do, every single action is being logged. But the number of logs that are being maintained is enormous. Enormous. Okay, so we have logs in the AWS cloud, and then for traffic we have separately, for operating systems we have separately, right? Okay, and then within containers, I told you about containers, no? Like making virtual containers individually within the clouds and all, right? Okay, for that also we have log. But the question is, are we able to access them? Suppose if you are a forensic examiner and you want to make your investigation, and if you want to look through the logs, you may be in a question, where will I access this? That will be the first question, right? Okay. So now when you are accessing it, there are two things. One is advantage, one is disadvantage. The advantage is, if somebody is trying to erase off the information, let's say, okay, they are trying to erase off the traces, it can't be done. Why? It may be removed from one server, but they have no idea in how many other servers this information is being replicated, in how many other forms it is being replicated, right? I told you about many different kinds of logs. Maybe you will erase it from the software side, but not in the operating side. Because when it goes to the operating system level, it's not easy for you to open it. To the registry level information, it's not accessible. Right? It's not accessible, right? Even if you try by different means. I don't say that, it is not at all possible, but, to the maximum, it may not be that easy for you to access them, right? So changing them may not be possible, so which means that the traces will stay there. It will stay there. But how do we get hold of them? Will the service provider give you? That's the question, right? I told you about a big room size server and all, and having, sharing the provisions, I told you, right? Okay. If that is the thing, if I am the service provider and I'm providing all these facilities to different customers, and if one among the customers is spoiling the, entire room, and he came, he took the rent of specific resources, and then he leaves, let's see, okay, right? And me, as a service provider, may not have any kind of track on him, right? I may not be willing to share it with the forensic examiners. Maybe even if it is a governmental, control that we have, yeah, thank you, right? We have, accessing information is a big deal. Accessing logs is a big deal, right? And even if you access, it's enormous. It's enormous. Millions and millions of records. So manually processing them may not be possible. So either you must make use of machine learning techniques, or you may have to develop AI algorithms in order to look through them. Automation is the only solution for that. Which means forensics is possible if you have enough tools. Do we have enough tools? That's the next question. Most of the cases we are making use of the tools that are generic for the common operating systems, common internet facilities and everything, right? It's not specifically designed for cloud. So again, there are two things. One, we can design, yeah? Another disadvantage is, today we may have to make a lot of manual effort to find them, since we don't have one, right? So the contribution that is to be made by the community is in many folds, actually. First thing, awareness of what is happening around you. You can't say that, I'm a forensic examiner, but with cloud, I'm sorry, I can't. You can't say that, right? Second thing, you must familiarize with yourself how the cloud proceeds with its upgradations. Yeah? Then you will be aware of how exactly you can put a check mark on them, right? And then hire people who are capable enough to develop tools for them. We are still relying upon the tools that are developed by other nations, right? We don't have our own individual forensic tools, yeah? So that is quite important. And having tools specifically for cloud and customizing them according to your need is the need of the hour today. So with this, I will end up our discussion for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Melita ma'am, for this wonderful session. Now we'll have an engaging Q&A session. So if you have any questions, you can directly engage with our speaker today. So, any questions?